a new microphone. And I know that some people haven't seen me in a while, and I haven't seen all of you as much as I can see you on YouTube, so I'm very, very happy to be back. I took a break. I was having a bit of a hard time with things, and I decided I was going to take a mental health break, and it ended up being much longer than I had planned. So I haven't stopped thinking about everybody, and I haven't stopped thinking about making videos and playing for everyone and answering questions, but it was time for me to just take a little bit of a pause on clarinet in my life. For those of you that stayed with me all through COVID and coronavirus in the beginning, I was putting out so many videos and I was doing a lot of other events that were outside of what I do on YouTube, and I really, really got burnt out. And that's why it's so important to take care of ourselves and take care of our mental health, and so that things like that don't happen. But I'm okay now. Thank you to everybody that reached out to me and was asking to see how I was doing. I appreciate it very, very much. And I'm here to find out how you all are doing. And I'm seeing everybody write in. It's so nice to see familiar names like Shane, hello, and Tyler, hi, Ethan, hello, hello. So let me know what you've been up to. So you can go ahead and ask questions in the chat, or you can just tell me what you've been doing. I know it's been a while. It's been a whole spring and summer and almost a whole winter, definitely a whole fall. So are you playing in person? Are you back in school and band? Are you in college? Are you taking a break too? Like, what are you working on? Silent Darkness, hello. So yeah, let me know what's going on with you. I can tell you a bit about what I have been up to. Tyler, so glad you're okay. Oh, and I'm glad you're back. Breaks are needed, and I am glad I'm okay too. And thank you. I know that some of you have known me for a really, really long time, and you know that I have had some health issues in the past. So I know some people were worried about that, and I should have put some updates in there. So I'm all okay. But this was definitely just, I was feeling really, really burnt out. And then I felt guilty about feeling burnt out. I felt bad about it. And then it was sort of this spiral effect. Like, I felt bad about being tired and overwhelmed. So then it became more tiring and overwhelming to come back into things. That was kind of where I was. But really, honestly, throughout the whole time, I still kept thinking about everybody and thinking about all of you. And so I'm here. Ethan, you've been learning different songs on clarinet like Gravity Falls, and you're in person now. Good to hear. I'm happy to hear that. I know it's sort of this like mixed, I have mixed feelings about being in person. Like, one, I want to be safe and everybody to be safe, and I want coronavirus to be done with because it's super annoying and it's also dangerous and scary and all the sad things that go along with it. But also, it's like this new reality for us, and it's important for us to keep moving forward with our lives, and one of those things is being back in person and playing. I haven't been playing. I actually turned down I had a job offer for the fall. I got it last spring, and I was super excited to be playing in the fall, and then Delta came, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna pause on this one. There are other clarinetists that could take this opportunity, and I'm happy for them to have it in my place, and I'm just gonna sit this one out until I feel comfortable that it's safe. But I don't hold anything against anybody else for playing in person and doing what they need to be doing and want to be doing. Silent Darkness, you're back in school band, but most of my performances are virtual, so you still have some virtual things going on. We've all gotten a lot better at virtual performances, that's for sure, but it's certainly not the same as in-person performances. I was teaching a class today, and we were listening to Strauss's, also Sprach Zarathustra, sorry, German-speaking people, and I was saying, oh my gosh, I just want to be in an orchestra and play that one again, because it is such a massive orchestra and it's so just incredible to play it. And that's what I miss, that feeling of everybody being together and playing together. So I'm so excited if that's what you are able to be doing. So Tyler, today I actually had a snow day from school, so today was a nice break for myself as well. Good, I'm glad. And Tyler, you said earlier on that breaks are important, and it is really, really, really true. I just, I would like to avoid taking that 8-month break like I just did. It was so long. Okay. And let's see, Shane, I got my grade 5 clarinet, and my clarinet teacher was very impressed with my score, so she let me skip my grade 6. So you're currently working on grade 7. Oh my gosh, congratulations. That's really, really good. Silent Darkness, don't feel bad about being burnt out. It is a normal thing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes, and I'm glad the world is changing, so people are being more accepting of mental health breaks and mental health in general, because, you know, that's my old thing of, you know, don't take care of yourself, keep going. You must be always, you know, busy and doing things. And then it just was too much. And so thank you all for understanding. Tyler, I have a bass clarinet now. You were able to save up for it. I remember you talking about that. Congratulations. Let me know what kind of bass clarinet you have and how you like playing it. That's wonderful news. Congratulations. That's a really, really big deal. I'm super happy for you. Shane, I also have entered lots of competitions and festivals in Ireland. I'm going to have to say that word. Okay, it looks like Jose, and then it looks like Frank, and then it looks like Ballester, offered to be his assistant, offered me to be his assistant for a masterclass in Spain this summer. So Jose was right. Awesome. Congratulations. I think masterclasses are such an incredible way to learn. And I've actually been thinking of a way to do that with all of you. Maybe we could do some masterclasses so some of you could watch me teaching other people. But anytime you get, and then some of you could play for me in the masterclass, of course, but anytime you get an opportunity to go to a masterclass, it's an incredible experience, especially as a teacher, or if you think you'll end up teaching, because watching somebody else teach is a great way to learn how to be a teacher, but also reinforce what you're learning and working on too. One of the big things that I have learned as a teacher, and it seems like such a no-brainer, but everybody learns differently. Everybody approaches things differently. So the more students I work with, the more I learn, the more that they teach me, and the more they help me be a better teacher and a better clarinetist. So being an assistant at a masterclass is amazing. You're going to learn so much. And not just build the connections with the people that are playing in the masterclass too, but also with with Mr. Ballester. So that's a great opportunity. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Silent Darkness, you're back on that contrabass grind too, since the restrictions allow me to go to school and play it. Awesome. Contrabass is so much fun to play. It's one of my favorite. I mean, I love all of the clarinet family, and but especially the ugly stepsisters, like the alto clarinet and the contralto and the contrabass. But those are so much fun to play. I just love being able to play those really low notes, and the floor vibrates and my eyeballs vibrate, and I feel bad for anybody sitting around me, because sometimes, you know, there's spit involved, and it's probably not the greatest thing to talk about during COVID, but it's part of what it is when you're playing contra, but it's so much fun. Shane, my orchestra rehearsals have also started up again. Very good to hear. And then Tyler, okay, you got a Vito bass clarinet. Excellent. It was in your price range. Works good for my high school jazz band. Also, a good open bore model. It is true. The Vitos are great clarinets. They have a big sound. And I believe they all are they are not the wood. They are the composite that they say, or, you know, I don't want to say plastic. Everybody gets mad at me when I say that. But what's really good about that with a Vito is that it does not crack, and the wood does not swell or contract. So you don't have a lot of those bass clarinet key adjustments that need to happen with the wooden bass clarinets. Much sturdier, and they last a really long time. So they're really good clarinets. I always recommend the Vitos. I really like them. Okay, Shane, did you ever get your new clarinet? I remember you trying the RZs. I did try the RZs. I did not go with getting a new clarinet at that time. It was right when I was starting to think about needing a break. So while I was doing those videos, I was thinking that I needed to take a little bit of a pause for me. So I was very enthusiastic with trying all these wonderful instruments. And I want you all to know that my break was not a sudden thing. I was thinking about it. So I should have talked it through with everybody and given you a little bit of a heads up of where I was in my headspace. I feel like all of you have been with me for so long that it's that I can share those things with you. So yes, I didn't get one at the time. I left it in the air thinking that in June I would go up to the factory to try some there in person, and then bring you all in for a tour of the showroom that they have up there. But you know, COVID had different plans, and so I am pausing that for now. So if I decide that it's time for me to get another clarinet, I'm going to go do it in person up there, try out some more, and then, you know, show you guys around to what it looks like in that area, which I thought was going to be really, really fun. All right, Tyler, you're looking for a new bass clarinet mouthpiece though, and I'm not sure what to look into. So if I have any ideas, that would be really great. Oh yes, I totally do. There are a lot of great bass clarinet mouthpieces out there. Selmer used to have the most wonderful bass mouthpiece. It was a Selmer C-Star. I believe it's now rebranded under the name Selmer Signature. It's a very, very good mouthpiece. I like that one. I do have a video on here where I try out all the Bakun mouthpieces for bass. The price point of those mouthpieces is very good. I don't know if it's the same that it was when I tried them out, but I remember being shocked at how good the price point was. I'm actually playing on one of those right now. If you give me a second, I can tell you which one I have. So I was playing on a Selmer C-Star for many years. Oh, and I'm back on it. It looks like I have my Selmer C-Star back on there. But the bass one that I liked, oh, it's not in my case, but I did pick out one in that video that I really liked a lot, of the Bakuns. And then I ended up I did 3 videos for that one. I did one on Facebook, I did one on Instagram, and I did one on YouTube. And I swear I picked a different mouthpiece for every single video. Because I liked all of them so much. So I would look into the Bakun bass clarinet mouthpieces because they all are wonderful and they're all very different. So finding the right one for you, you're going to have a good chance of finding one that's a really, really good fit. But this is the Selmer C-Star. I'm back on it. So that is the old... this is the old name for it, the Selmer C-Star. Now I believe it is the Selmer Signature. If it's different, just let me know and I will update that in the comment section here. But for bass clarinet mouthpieces, those are good. And then I don't know how it works with trying them out with Bakun. Obviously, I'm in a different position because I was able to try out all of them at once. And I don't think they let you do that unless you put down a deposit for all of them, which would be a lot of money. What you could do is write to them, say I sent you, or you can even copy me in if you have my email address and I can help you out with it, and say what kind of mouthpiece you're on playing now, and they can kind of point you in the right direction to picking out a mouthpiece. People do love Casper mouthpieces, but they are very, very expensive. And there's Chedeville mouthpieces and things like that. So there are a lot of mouthpieces out there. But if you're playing on the Vito, I recommend the Bakuns or the Selmer. So that was a very long rant. No, it was a very long description of mouthpiece options. But you do have a lot out there. Okay. Shane, I'm still saving up for a series. Oh, a MOBA, the MOBA clarinet, A series, got it. I'm going to probably get one when I go to university. However, that's not for about 4 years. Okay. Yeah, I mean, also look into, and it's all up to you, because I am a big fan of buying used clarinets. There are a lot of excellent clarinets out there where people like me have decided, oh, you know what, I'm going to just change things up a little bit. It's not even like I'm unhappy with my clarinet. I just want to try out or play a different clarinet for a while, and I need to sell my buffet clarinet to do so. So you can look into buying a used clarinet if you want to lower that price point a bit. The other thing with Bakun is they do have sales during different times of the year. So just if you're not on their mailing list, get on their mailing list. They do their 12 days of Bakun during the Christmas holiday season. So they usually have discounts in that area, and they sometimes have giveaways. So yeah, make sure that you are on their mailing list for any kind of discounts that they have. And then the other option is buying a used one. Used clarinets hold their value more than people think they do. It's not like a car when you drive it off the lot and the value goes down. So you can actually, you can get a good price on an instrument that's still a very, very good instrument. But if you've got 4 years to go and you've got a good job and a way of bringing in some money, then you can absolutely save up for that instrument. The MOBAs, the Bakun clarinets, they're high-end professional clarinets, so they have a high-end professional price point. But you'll get there, absolutely. I mean, Tyler did it, so we all can do it, right? So anything else that's going on with you? Any other clarinet questions? We covered some bass clarinet mouthpiece information and purchasing clarinet, things like that. Okay, I'm going to try and pronounce your name. Jonder? Let me know if I said it right, and if not, can you phonetically spell it out so I can get your name right? Hi, I just saw this live. I'm a sophomore in high school currently, and I can't afford to get a step-up instrument, which is slowing me down because the keys are finicky. Anything I can do? Yes, if you can let me know what kind of clarinet you're currently playing on, then we can talk it through what your options are for getting a step-up clarinet, maybe where you're located. You just popped in where Shane was talking about saving up for the clarinet that he wants to get, and Tyler already mentioned that he saved up for his clarinet. All right, Jonder. Do I say the D? Is it silent? Jonder? I'm trying. I want to get your name right. So let's talk a little bit about getting that step-up instrument. It depends on what kind of clarinet that you're willing to get, and there's many. It's like... all right, I got it. It's like De Jahana. De Jahaha. Yes, okay. All right, then we will focus on clarinet. So let's talk about it this way. Usually when people talk to me about a step-up clarinet, they're going from a sort of plastic beginner clarinet, and they would like to have a wooden clarinet. And my recommendation is, if you can finagle it a little bit with the numbers, skip over an intermediate clarinet and get a used professional clarinet. All right, you've got a Yamaha Advantage. Those are good clarinets. Yamahas are great clarinets. If you're used to playing a Yamaha and you would like to stay in the Yamaha land, I highly recommend it. They have excellent intonation, wonderful clarinets, and the prices of those instruments are excellent. Very, very reasonable, especially when you compare it to buffet prices and Bakun prices, even Selmer prices. Yamaha is very competitive with their prices, which is really, really good for a great clarinet. If the keys are giving you some trouble, and if it's a newer clarinet, you can contact Yamaha and let them know the keys are giving you some trouble, and they can either point you in the right direction for a repair person, or maybe it's still under warranty. Thank you, Timothy. It's great to be back. So I would start there with seeing if you can tweak your Yamaha, get those keys in the right place for you. It shouldn't be doing that. The keys should not be finicky. With clarinets, we have a lot of keys. And these are very busy instruments, right? It's not like we're playing the trombone or something like that. So we actually do need to take our clarinets into repair people to tweak them. I rarely play my E-flat clarinet these days, and when I pulled it out of the case a couple months ago, it needs to go to the shop. It's out of alignment, so it's a real pain in the butt. But that's what happens to us when we're playing our instruments. So yeah, get that checked out. But okay, so if you're playing a Yamaha and you need to step up, I would look into buying a used Yamaha or staying in that Yamaha family. If you want to branch out and go into buffet or something like that, I would do a used buffet R13, a used buffet Prestige or Festival. If you can get one that you are able to play test, that is what you actually need to be doing. I used to do this on Craigslist. I would buy these used clarinets off of Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and things like that, but only if I could play them first. So I needed to play test them. And since you're a professional, or you're a young clarinetist or an older clarinetist or whatever kind of clarinetist you are, you're a clarinetist, you can play test those instruments to make sure that they are working properly. You can also buy them from a music store. If you can get to your local music store that's not a franchise, even better, because they'll take good care of you there and they can usually work with you on the price for that one. The RZ clarinets and the Ubel clarinets are excellent clarinets. The prices are amazing on those instruments as well. Also very competitive prices. and they're wonderful instruments. So if you get a chance to play any of those, please do. They've got these beautiful, dark, sweet sounds, and they're really lovely to play. And those prices are also much lower, in all fairness, than the buffets and the Bakkuns. But there's so many different clarinets out there for us to try that you want to find the one that fits right for you, the one that helps you sing out your inner voice so that, you know, people can hear you the way you are hearing yourself in your mind. Okay. So, all right, Tyler, yes, I have an intermediate Yamaha YC. Yeah, Yamahas are great. Oh yeah, and eBay, that's another great place to look. But once again, make sure you're able to return it if it doesn't play the way you want it to. Okay, so you've had your Yamaha since 7th grade. It is very good. I just suffer from a lot of financial problems, and I do love Yamahas a lot. I have a lot of instruments from Yamaha. Yeah, I mean, you know, finances are a thing that all of us have to work through, and that's one of the interesting challenges with having this expensive hobby, or, you know, this expensive love that we all have being musicians. I'll just say thank God we don't play the violin, because that would just bump our price point up into the 5 and 6 digits, which luckily we don't really ever have to deal with. So think of some things that you can do to raise that money to get you there so that you can get that clarinet that you want. So if you have a lot of instruments, maybe consider selling some of your instruments. I knew a young man that rented instruments. That's how he made his money. It was actually quite incredible. He saw an ad in the newspaper for 50 band instruments or something like that for $500, and he asked his parents for a loan, and he bought them, and then he rented them to other kids at school for, you know, a much lower price than the local music store. I don't encourage undercutting, but he did it, and he was able to make a lot of money that way. And so that's one thing. You could do some business like that for yourself. You could get a job. But you could teach lessons even if you feel comfortable teaching lessons. Usually with lessons, they're priced based on the experience and the reputation of the teacher. So when I first started teaching when I was in high school, I think I charged maybe $10 a lesson or something like that, knowing that I wasn't, you know, the principal clarinet of the Philadelphia Orchestra. There was no way I could have charged what he charges. And then as I've gotten older and my experience has changed and my reputation has grown, it changes along with that. So you do have some ways, but boy, I feel you there. And like what Tyler says, you can check out eBay. I have known people, I've actually never done it, but I've talked about it on this YouTube channel before, that have gone to thrift shops. I've seen clarinets at thrift stores, but I've known people that have gone to pawn shops. I had a friend that went into, she went into a thrift shop, and they had a bass clarinet in the thrift shop, and it was $50 for this bass clarinet, and she asked for the military discount because she played bassoon in the Army band, or the Navy band, and they gave her the military discount, because why not? So she got that bass clarinet for $45, and she took it into the repair tech, and he did some work on it, and I kept trying to get her to sell me that thing, and she would never sell it to me. So you never know what you might find. So keep your eyes open on Marketplace, on any local thrift shops and pawn shops, and places where you can actually pick one up. They're out there. They're under people's beds, you know, and so people pull them out of the closet occasionally. And teaching lessons really, really is fun. I never saw myself, it's so funny, I never saw myself as a teacher when I was younger. I always saw myself as a performer, or I worked at all these other jobs. Like I worked at a wildlife refuge, and I worked as an SAT tutor, and I worked as a preschool teacher, and I taught clarinet lessons all through this time while I was freelancing and taking auditions and putting on recitals and doing competitions. And so it makes sense now. Obviously, I can look back on it in hindsight and be like, wow, I always was a teacher. My whole life I was a teacher, and I just didn't see it. It was always something that I did for fun, and obviously I did it for the money too, but I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't loved it. That was always something that when I thought about what I wanted to do with my life. I did work some grunt jobs that were really torturous for me, but I had a goal, like a financial goal, like I wanted to get a bass clarinet like Tyler. So I worked at an ice cream shop scooping ice cream kind of thing. And I did that because I really, really wanted to get this bass clarinet. But it's so funny that, you know, these things that they kind of arise, these opportunities arise out of what we are doing already, or perhaps what we love to do and we just don't even notice that we love doing them. So Tyler says, yes, I know someone in my band that found a near mint condition Yamaha trombone in a thrift shop and got it for like $80. Oh my gosh. Craziness. Yeah, I also, now this is probably a total urban legend that I'm telling you at this point, but there's this story of John Brusier, who's the E-flat, went into a pawn shop and there was a D clarinet in there. So instead of an E-flat clarinet, it was a D clarinet, and he saw it and he said, listen, I'm in the Chicago Symphony and that clarinet is the wrong size. You're never going to be able to sell it. And in all fairness, it would have been very hard for them to sell it. And they said, well, what do you mean? And then he pulls out a B-flat clarinet and he like puts it up on the counter and he's like, this is a clarinet and look at yours. It's like, nobody's going to buy it. And they said, oh my gosh, how much do you think we should, you know, sell it for? And he was like, I don't know, $50 or something like that. And they sold it to him and he got it. And it's such a great story. And I hope it's true. But if any of you know, I think there's some famous D clarinet parts. I think Till Eulenspiegel is in D, and you have to transpose that when you play on E-flat clarinet, unless you have the Hancock book where it's already transposed for you. And then I also believe that, and I've played both parts actually. I've played Daphnis and Chloe, and I've played Till Eulenspiegel, and I've heard that Daphnis is easier on the D clarinet than it is on the E-flat clarinet. But anyway, it's just another crazy thrift shop story that's out there. Okay. Yes, you definitely, the keys fixed on yours. I pushed on one and it struggled really hard. Yeah, marching band was a big struggle due to how cold it gets and my carpal. Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely get your keys looked at. They should be working for you, not working against you. You want to have nice, very responsive action on your keys. Everybody's a little bit different. I know some people like looser and some people like more springy. I'm one of the more springy kind of people. But yeah, definitely get that looked at. It should not be difficult to press it down. And especially if you have anything like carpal tunnel, you have to be very careful about keeping your hands very relaxed and not having any kind of that tension in there. And that goes for all of us too. We don't want to be developing any problems too. So yeah, definitely get that looked at. Okay. Shane, I busked on the streets of Dublin in order for me to get my current clarinet, LeBlanc Bliss. Oh yeah, great idea. I've done that too. Yes, busking I did. It's so much fun, and mine was to go see my boyfriend who was in Verbier, Switzerland, and I was in Leipzig, Germany. And so I was actually in Oldenburg, and then I went to Leipzig to put my case out with my friend Richard, and we played all these Bach duets. It was wonderful, and everybody threw money in there, and it was before the Euro, so it was all this Pfennig and Deutschmarks. And then I went and I bought my train ticket to go see my husband in Switzerland, and I'm like counting out like 1 Pfennig at a time, and it's like 1 penny at a time, and I didn't speak German really well, and I remember this lady just like, oh, everybody behind me, it was crazy. But I got all my money to go see my boyfriend, who is now my husband, by busking. So yeah, busking is really, really fun. There is a great story in the Washington Post magazine about, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name, and it's Joshua Bell is a violinist, and he's a Stradivarius violin, and they did an experiment. I believe the author of the article is Gene Weingarten, and they did an experiment where they put a world-famous violinist with a world-famous violin in the Washington, D.C. metro, and they put a baseball cap on him so nobody would recognize him, to see if anybody would notice that there was a world-famous violinist playing a Stradivarius violin, and if they would stop and listen to him. And they had all this crowd control out there because they were expecting crowds and crowds of people, and it ends up being like 17 people that stopped throughout the course of the morning. It's really sad, but it's a very interesting article about busyness and, working too hard and, circling back around to what we started with being burnt out and things like that. Okay. So busking to see your true love is such a romantic thing. I'd die if my partner did that. Oh, thanks. I should ask my husband what he thought about it. I just needed to see him. I hadn't seen him in like 2 months. And I was like, oh, I have to get money to go to Switzerland. And it really was like this epic journey. I'm from America. You could probably tell. And so I'm over there in this German festival orchestra, and I don't speak German that well, but I'm trying. And so I'm busking for all this money, and I finally get this train ticket, and it's like 3 trains to Verbier, and then I had to take a gondola up into the Alps. And then at one point I really, really had to go to the bathroom, and you had to pay money to get into the bathroom. Like you had to put a coin in for the door to open, and I couldn't change my money. So now I'm in Switzerland and I need Swiss francs, and I only have German money. And I was like trying to get the money changed, and it was a Sunday, and I had to go to the bathroom, and it was like this giant ordeal. And so I'm talking to this person, I'm trying to speak my terrible German, and then he's answering me in French. And so then I try and speak French to him, and then finally he starts speaking English, and I was like, I speak English, I can speak English. And it was one of these wonderful European stories that I feel like Americans miss out on when we don't travel, because we get so wrapped up at just being in America. And when you're in Europe, you can go to all these different places the same way we can go to all these different states. And being able to go to a different place where you speak a different language is so exciting, but it's also scary at the same time. And I didn't have a smartphone back then. We didn't have that kind of technology. So it was just me on my own. And I think I probably went to an internet cafe to send him an email that probably cost $30 to send, to let him know that eventually I would get there, So that is really fun. But I'm looking forward to going back. I mean, I am pretty excited to be able to use my phone as a translator, but also I'm still trying to, keep up on learning French so that I can sound somewhat less like an idiot when I need to go to the bathroom. So you're from Missouri, and my partner lives in Louisiana, and I thought that was far. Switzerland. It's just for the summer. The one that was really far is I was in an orchestra in Japan once, and so I was there for about 5 weeks, and he was in Switzerland that summer. And that time, figuring out that time difference was like exploding my brain. Like I couldn't figure out what time to call him. And once again, that was in the old days, and we didn't have Skype or Zoom or anything like that. So I'd have to buy these calling cards to call him, and it would be like $65 to talk to him for 5 minutes. And so that was another thing I had to raise money for. I had to figure out how to get money to just make a phone call to my boyfriend. So I'm glad those days are over. It's so nice to have the whole world connected. I know there's some downsides to it, but it makes it a little bit easier for the long distance relationships, I'm sure. Yes, for Arjun Brooks, I do private lessons. I'll put my email address in here. So send me an email if you're interested in private lessons. Absolutely. I do love teaching and teaching privately. And no, I do not watch anime. I have many young people in my life that encourage me to check it out, because it's it is beautiful. I mean, I've seen pictures of it, and occasionally I see it. And so no, that is one art form that I have not gotten into, other than just there's only so many hours in a day, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So private lessons with me are, you can do $45 for 30 minutes and $90 for 60 minutes. So that's how much I charge for private lessons. And we can do as many as you need. I know other teachers that require a certain amount of time, but my teaching philosophy is very similar to what you're seeing here right now, and also what I do in my videos. I go over what your goals are, why you're taking lessons, and I work with you to help you reach what you want to be achieving. I am not one of these, you have to play my mouthpiece, you have to play my clarinet, you have to do it exactly as I say it. It's more like, okay, how do we get there? And how do I best support you? And it seems very simple to say it like that, but it is bizarrely controversial in the the music teaching world. There's still a philosophy that goes into, I hate to, it's just some teachers can be a sort of my way or the highway kind of thing. I don't have practice requirements for my students. I trust that you will practice how much you need to practice and how much you want to practice. That is up to you. So I am here to help you and support you. And if you're finding that you're struggling with practicing, I have plenty of ways to help coach you through that. And that kind of teaching style isn't the best teaching style. Some people really do like that hard, I was gonna say hard ass kind of teacher, and now YouTube's gonna be like, she said a bad word. Anyway, but that stricter kind of teacher, that works for some people, and that's just not my style, but I can help you find a teacher that works for you. So that's really how it goes. All right. So Shane, thanks for going live. Unfortunately, you have to go. Oh my gosh, it's really late in Ireland and you have school tomorrow. Goodbye. It's always good to see you, Shane. And once again, I've said it to you before, one of these days I'm going to get to Ireland. My grandmother, and I'm sure you're sick of Americans saying this, but my grandmother came from there. Her name was Maggie Malloy. And one of these days I'm going to go see where her family lived. It's always been a dream of mine to get to Ireland. And then Hana. Oh, I really want to get your name right. I love Studio Ghibli. Oh, yes. No, I've heard of those anime movies. This one I do know. They have beautiful music soundtracks and a lot involve classical instruments. I will definitely check that out. I do know those ones. When my children were little, they loved those movies. Is that like The Spirited Away and My Friend Totoro? Are those movies? Leo, thank you so much. But yes, those are beautiful. Totally. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up now too. So any final thoughts? Let's give it like a couple minutes. Any last minute questions? I'm happy to be back. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you. You are the reason I have this YouTube channel. Every single one of you. I started this for my private clarinet studio, and then people just started watching them, and I am so grateful to all of you. Thank you so, so much. And I will be back. I've learned that I'm not one of those people that works well with a schedule, but I will try to put one together and be back here for you. And oh, thank you for saying I'm super cool and I need to watch more. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you everybody so much for coming, and I appreciate it, and happy clarinetting. Bye.